All right, so today we're going to be tackling Microsoft 365 apps, getting them up and running for our businesses. And this deep dive is really for everyone, whether you're the one managing all the installs or you're a user and you're just like ready to go and use the apps. We're going to break down this super recent article from blog.m365pros.com. It's called Install Microsoft 365 Apps for Your Business 2024. It was published just this past September.
Wow.
And even updated last month.
Oh, wow. So it's really up to date.
So we're working with the latest and greatest info here.
Yeah, staying up to date on this stuff is so key, especially, with technology constantly changing.
Absolutely. And they lay things out really well in this article. They really separate the process for admins and regular users. But before we even get into the how, I'm curious about the why. I mean, we all know that having the right software can make or break a business, but what's the real impact here?
Yeah, you're hitting on a crucial point. It's not just about having the apps.
Right.
It's about what they enable. Think about onboarding new employees. If you've got a streamlined process for getting them set up with Microsoft 365, it saves everyone time.
Right.
Headaches.
Yeah, less headaches, happier employees. Right.
Exactly. Happier employees are often more productive employees. And plus, think about consistency across the company.
Okay.
When everyone's using the same up-to-date software, collaboration becomes so much smoother.
Okay, so now I'm really seeing the value. So let's get into those installation steps, starting with the admin side. The article says they can install apps directly from the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, and they can even share a link with employees.
Oh, wow.
That sounds pretty slick.
Yeah, it is. And I'd even argue that sending out the link is just step one.
Oh.
Clear communication is vital here. What happens if that link gets buried in someone's inbox?
Oh, I've been there for sure. Emails can get lost so easily.
Right. So a follow-up email with clear instructions, maybe even a quick, did you get this? Check-in can make a world of difference.
Yeah.
It just shows that you're invested in getting everyone on board.
That's a great point. Now, what about those of us who aren't the ones doing the installing? What does the process look like for regular users?
It's incredibly straightforward.
Okay.
You just sign into your Microsoft 365 account online, click Install Apps, and you're pretty much guided to the rest.
I noticed the article specifically mentions premium Microsoft 365 apps for the user instructions.
Okay.
Is that a different beast altogether?
That's a great question, and one that deserves a bit more explanation.
Okay.
It's not that the installation process itself is different.
Right.
But it hints at something important. Different Microsoft 365 plans offer different sets of features.
Okay.
Think of it like choosing between a standard car and one with all the bells and whistles.
Okay.
Both get you from point A to point B, but the experience can be quite different.
So there's like business standard and then there's premium.
Yeah.
And they each have their own set of apps.
Essentially, business standard gives you the core apps like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook.
Right.
But the premium plan is where you unlock those extra perks.
Right.
Things like advanced security features, more robust collaboration tools, and even some AI-powered capabilities.
Okay, so that premium label is like a good reminder to check which plan you're on.
Yeah.
Make sure you're getting the most out of it.
Yeah.
You might be missing out on some really cool features.
Exactly. Now, back to the installation process itself.
Okay.
The article highlights something that seems basic, but often trips people up.
Let me guess. Actually finding the newly installed apps.
You got it.
Oh, I've seen that happen a million times.
It sounds silly, but sometimes, even after successfully installing the apps, people struggle to locate them on their computer.
Yeah.
It's like that feeling of relief when you finally find your keys after turning your whole house upside down.
Oh, I know that feeling all too well. So the article mentions the Start menu. Is that the main hub for all these Microsoft 365 apps?
That's right.
Okay.
It's typically where you'll find those familiar icons like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, the whole gang.
It seems like they've really tried to make things user-friendly, both for the admins setting everything up and the everyday users accessing the apps.
Absolutely. And for the admins out there, remember that support doesn't end with sending that installation link. Your team might have questions, encounter hiccups, or need guidance on which apps are best suited for specific tasks.
Yeah, so it's all about fostering a company culture where people feel comfortable asking for help and exploring these tools. And that brings us back to something we discussed earlier, the impact this can have on the entire business.
Right. It goes beyond just checking a box and saying, we have Microsoft 365.
Right.
It's about empowering your team to leverage these tools effectively, which can ultimately lead to increased productivity, better collaboration,
and a more efficient workflow overall.
Okay, so we've covered the two main installation paths, admin and non-admin. We've gotten a glimpse into the different Microsoft 365 plans.
Yeah.
But it sounds like the real magic starts after the installation's done.
Absolutely. Installing the apps is just the first step. Now it's time to explore what they can really do and how they can transform the way you work. And that's where things get really exciting. Think of it as unlocking the treasure chest of Microsoft 365.
Oh, I like where this is going. So we've got these apps installed.
Yeah.
You know which plan we're on now, what. The article itself doesn't really go into the nitty-gritty of each app, does it?
It doesn't, but that's where we come in. Let's take a peek inside some of these powerhouse apps. We've got the classics like Word, Excel, and Outlook. And then there's Teams, which has become the poster child for collaboration. It's funny how some things never go out of style. I remember using Word for school assignments. I felt so high-tech back then. But now it's like Word's gone from a basic word processor to this whole publishing platform. And don't even get me started on the collaboration features.
Right. It's like night and day. In Excel, forget those simple spreadsheets of the past. Now it's all about data analysis, complex formulas, visualizations. You can even tap into machine learning capabilities.
Wait, machine learning in Excel? That sounds intense. I'm going to need a separate deep dive just to wrap my head around that one.
It's definitely a game changer. But for now, let's not forget about good old Outlook. It might be the king of email, but it's so much more than that. You can manage calendars, contacts, tasks. It's like your command center for staying organized.
Oh, that's a great analogy. And then there's Teams. It's become the go-to for video calls and messaging, but I've heard it can also handle file sharing and project management. Is that true?
Absolutely. Teams has really become this central hub for teamwork. It's changed the way we communicate and collaborate, especially for those of us working remotely or with teams spread across different locations.
This is making me realize that even if you're familiar with using these apps, there might be a ton of features you're missing out on.
Exactly. It's like having a Swiss Army knife and only using the blade. There's a whole toolkit waiting to be discovered.
So how do we go about unlocking those hidden gems? Where do we even begin?
Well, a bit of curiosity goes a long way. Take some time to explore each app, play around with different features, and see what clicks for you and your work style. Don't be afraid to click on random buttons. You never know what you might find.
That's great advice. And if you do get lost or need a little guidance, I'm sure Microsoft has tons of resources online.
They do. Their website and support forums are packed with information. And don't underestimate the power of YouTube tutorials. There are some amazing experts out there who break down these features in easy-to-understand ways.
So we've touched on some of the key players in the Microsoft 365 world. But how does all of this translate to the bigger picture? How does having access to these powerful tools actually impact a business?
It's about creating a more efficient and collaborative environment. When employees have the tools they need to work smarter, not harder, productivity naturally increases. Communication flows more smoothly. Projects stay on track. And everyone feels empowered to contribute their best.
It's like giving your entire business a productivity upgrade. And that can lead to some pretty tangible results, right?
Absolutely. It can translate into increased revenue, happier customers, and even a more engaged and motivated workforce.
Yeah.
When people feel equipped to do their jobs well, they're more likely to be satisfied and invested in their work.
It's fascinating how something as seemingly simple as installing software can have such a ripple effect throughout an entire organization.
It's true. But there's one crucial aspect we haven't discussed yet, and it's often overlooked when implementing new software.
Oh, I'm intrigued. What is it?
Training and onboarding. Imagine rolling out this amazing suite of tools and then just expecting everyone to magically know how to use them.
That wouldn't be very effective, would it?
Not at all. Proper training is essential. You need to invest in getting your team up to speed, especially those who might be less familiar with these apps or new to the whole Microsoft 365 ecosystem.
So it's not just about giving them the keys to the car, it's about teaching them how to drive it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And don't forget about ongoing support. People will have questions, encounter challenges, and need a bit of hand-holding along the way. It's about creating a culture of learning and continuous improvement.
And that brings us back to the idea of an admin's role being so much more than just the technical setup. It's about being a guide, a resource, and a champion for these tools within the company.
Well said. But beyond the basics, there's a whole other layer to uncover tips and tricks that can take your Microsoft 365 game to a whole new level.
Okay, I am so ready for this. Bring on the pro tips. Okay, so listeners, we're back and ready to level up our Microsoft 365 skills. we've got the apps installed. We're familiar with the basics now. Let's get into those pro tips that you mentioned. What's the first secret weapon in our arsenal?
Let's talk keyboard shortcuts. These little time savers might seem insignificant, but they can make a huge difference in your workflow.
Right.
Especially if you're like me and on the keyboard.
Okay, so we're talking more than just Cradle plus C and Cradle plus V, right?
Absolutely.
Those are my go-tos, but I'm always up for learning new tricks.
Every Microsoft 365 app has its own set of shortcuts.
Okay.
Designed to make specific tasks faster and easier. For example, in Word.
Yeah.
Did you know you can press Ctrl plus Shift plus N to over a new document without ever touching your mouse?
See, that's what I'm talking about. Simple but effective.
Right.
My mouse hand thanks you. What else have you got?
Let's move on to templates.
Yeah.
Microsoft offers a treasure trove of pre-designed templates for everything.
Okay.
From presentations and reports to invoices and newsletters.
Templates are a lifesaver. They save you so much time and effort, and they always look so professional. I use them all the time for presentations.
They're a fantastic resource.
Yeah.
And the best part is you can customize them to fit your specific needs and branding.
Oh, yeah.
It's like having a design team at your beck and call.
All right. Keyboard shortcuts, templates. I'm taking notes. But I have a feeling there are some even deeper secrets lurking beneath the surface.
Yeah.
Any hidden features or settings we should know about?
There are. One of my favorites is the Tell Me feature.
Okay.
It's basically a search bar at the top of most Microsoft 365 apps.
Oh, so I can just type in what I want to do and it will tell me how.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's say you're in Word.
Okay.
And you want to insert a table, but you can't remember where that function is hidden in the menus.
Right.
Just type Insert Table into the Tell Me bar, and it'll guide you through the steps.
That's like having a built-in personal assistant for Microsoft 365. I can't believe I haven't used this before.
It's a game changer. And while we're on the topic of working smarter, let's talk cloud storage and collaboration.
Oh, yeah.
Microsoft 365 integrates seamlessly with OneDrive and SharePoint, making it incredibly easy to store, share, and work on files together in real time.
Cloud storage has been a lifesaver for our team. No more emailing files back and forth or worrying about version control. We can all access the latest documents from anywhere.
Exactly. And remember version history.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a safety net.
Yeah.
You can track changes, revert to previous versions, and even compare different iterations of a document.
Right.
No more fear of accidentally deleting something important.
Speaking of collaboration, what about those real-time co-authoring features I've heard about?
Yeah.
Where multiple people can work on the same document at the same time.
It's like magic.
Oh, wow.
You can actually see each other's edits as they happen.
Oh, wow.
Which makes collaborating so much smoother and more efficient.
And I bet that cuts down on those lengthy email chains.
Yes.
Trying to consolidate everybody's feedback.
Absolutely. And with features like comments, mentions, and built-in chat, communication becomes seamless within the document itself.
Okay, we've covered some serious ground here.
Yeah.
Keyboard shortcuts, templates, tell me, cloud storage, real-time collaboration. What else should we have on our radar?
One final tip, and this is a big one. Embrace automation.
Okay.
Microsoft 365 is packed with features that can automate repetitive tasks, freeing up your time and mental energy for more important things.
Oh, I'm all about working smarter, not harder.
Right.
Tell me more.
For example, in Excel, you can use macros to automate tasks like formatting data or generating reports.
Okay.
And in Outlook, you can set up rules to automatically sort and filter your emails.
Right.
So you're not drowning in your inbox.
Automation is a game changer. It's like having a virtual assistant that never takes a break.
And the best part is with AI-powered features like Microsoft Copilot becoming more prevalent, the possibilities for automation are only going to expand.
This deep dive has been incredible. We've gone from basic installation all the way to advanced automation, uncovering so many hidden gems and productivity-boosting tips along the way.
It's been a fantastic journey.
Yeah.
And now that you have the knowledge and the tools, I want to leave you with this. Which of these features will have the biggest impact on your work or your business?
That's a great question to consider as we wrap up our deep dive. So listeners, go forth, experiment, explore, and discover the true power of Microsoft 365.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
And as always, remember, knowledge is power.